most Adventists place a great deal of emphasis on their diet by limiting the consumption of animal-based and overly processed foods. A wide variety of natural foods, including fresh fruits and vegetables, along with whole grains and nuts, make up the average Adventist Christian's diet. Many also stay active with a wide variety of recreational forms of exercise. Drinking lots of water and striving to minimize stress are also important in this lifestyle. What most Adventists have discovered and embraced is a Bible-based guideline for healthy living. In fact, the Bible has a whole lot to say about healthful living, more than most may realize. The original diet of Eden was totally vegetarian. Only after the flood, when all the vegetation had been temporarily destroyed, did God permit the use of animals as food. And in the books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, God provides clear guidelines for proper use of animal foods in the human diet. He didn't do this because He wanted to limit our pleasure in eating. Instead, through these scriptures, He thoughtfully guides us into a more healthy way of life. The animals that He permits on His list of approved foods are much healthier than the ones He forbids. Today, thousands of years later, science is now catching up to the Bible and confirming what it knew all along. This is a clear sign that God has always considered it important for people to live healthy lives. This is not a salvation issue. It's a matter of long life and well-being provided by our manufacturer who knows what is best for us.
Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers.
Daniel, a Hebrew who fully trusted God and followed the biblical dietary recommendations, insisted that he and his 3 Hebrew friends would be healthier in just 10 days if they were allowed to eat vegetables rather than the many delicacies from the king's table.
So he agreed to this and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. So the guard took away their choice food and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables instead.
God does know best, and He cares about our health. And as with every other subject of well-being, the Bible is our best guide and source of wisdom regarding physical health. This is why most Adventist believers follow the Bible's dietary recommendations. As a result, research shows that North American Adventists live an average of 10 years longer than other North Americans, and across the board have better health and a much lower incidence of disease than other North Americans. This was recently reported in a National Geographic article on longevity. Adventists were one of 3 groups featured in the article who, because of their health habits, often live to be 100 years old and longer. What may seem like a peculiar custom to some is in reality a Bible-based recipe for a longer, healthier life. God's desire is that His human family enjoys a blessed life, free of disease. And being the loving God that He is, He does not leave us guessing. He clearly lays out His perfect plan for a healthy lifestyle in the Human Instruction Manual.
Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? For you were bought at a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
The most obvious teaching of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, that which makes it stand out from most other denominations, is its practice of the biblical Sabbath. It is part of human nature to take a weekly break from work to rejuvenate the mind, body, and spirit. The 4th commandment makes clear how and when we should spend this time. The word Sabbath in the Hebrew language means rest, and this time of rest has been practiced without interruption since the time of Adam. Each week, the Sabbath begins at sundown on Friday and ends at sundown on Saturday. Some Christians wonder whether the particular day matters. As long as we keep 1 day out of 7, they say, we are honoring the 4th commandment. However, God is very specific about when to celebrate His Sabbath. We can celebrate our birthday on a different day than the actual date of our birth, but that does not change our birthday. In the same way, each 7th day is our birthday as God's special creation, and celebrating this weekly holiday on a different day cannot change that fact. From the start, before the existence of the Jewish nation, God gave the human race this special time for rest and remembrance. It was intended for all of humanity, not just one specific group. Many years after He created the world, God chose a group of people to represent Him to the rest of humanity. And at Mount Sinai, He gave the Jewish people a reminder of what He had established long ago in Eden. It is important to restate that God felt this command to be so crucial that He personally wrote it with His own finger in stone. Also, He begins this particular command with the word remember, something He does not do with any of the other 10 commandments. Today, the other 9 are never questioned by others, yet the Sabbath continually proves to be a controversial topic. Long ago, because of His foreknowledge, God knew that the Sabbath would lose its value in the hearts of future generations to the point of it being nearly forgotten. However, a growing number of people are heeding His appeal to remember His special weekly holiday. Now we need to see if Jesus honored the Sabbath. Did He ignore it? Did He give any indication that it is no longer valid?
And as His custom was, He went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up to read.
It is clear here that it was the custom of Jesus, which means He did it on a regular basis. Some have suggested that Jesus had to keep the Sabbath because He was Jewish, and this particular commandment does not apply to non-Jewish people. But nowhere does the Bible suggest that Jesus excuses His followers from honoring this specific commandment. To the contrary, Jesus made His intention about the Sabbath and all other commands unquestionable.
Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law, until everything is accomplished. Anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
This statement from the mouth of Jesus makes it crystal clear that all 10 of the commandments are still valid.